Hey guys, and welcome back. I hope everyone is doing alright today. I've had a chance since last night to actually sit down, to calm down, to reflect on the news that has came out surrounding this football club, and a chance to actually take in everything that's came out on social media, because, well, after the initial exclusive report from the Telegraph, a lot of information surrounding Nicolo Barella has actually came out in social media. And I'm here today to tell you every single bit about it. I'm here to tell you everything you need to know about the player. Will Newcastle actually sign him? We'll tell you my personal opinion. We'll show you everything that's been reported already. Afterwards, even if, let's say, this deal ends up fizzling out in the end, it's still actually huge for this football club, and I'll explain why. But we're going to get through all of it today. Anyway, guys, if you like what you watched and you're brand new around here, make sure you get down there, hit that subscribe button, smash the like button you enjoy. I appreciate your support as always. Make sure you let me know down in the comment section your thoughts. I'm going to be a little bit busy later on, but at the time when I'm recording this video, by the way, it is going to be 2 PM on the 15th of June. So if more information comes out, that's the thing with someone that's active like this. This video, for example, could actually become outdated in a few hours depending on what happens in social media. So I just want to let you know, by the way, the timestamp. If someone else comes out, then once again I'll be back with a second upload. But for now though, I'm just reflecting on everything that has already came out in social media at the time of recording. But a couple of things though, I'm actually going to the Hoppins tomorrow, by the way. So any of you guys are wanting to get in my vlog, or you want to come meet me, I will be there tomorrow. There'll probably be a transfer news video in the morning and a Hoppins video in the afternoon. I think I'm probably going to do a double upload. If not, we'll go out on the Saturday, the Hoppins vlog. So we'll see what happens anyway, but that's just my little heads up I want to give you there. But that's about it though. Without further ado, let's get straight into it. Let's begin off this video by recapping on the exclusive article from the Telegraph that came out yesterday. Newcastle United are closing in on a deal to sign Nicolo Barella from Inter Milan for £50 million. I can't quite believe that actually came out on social media, by the way. Now, as a Newcastle fan, I know I've had a good couple of years since the takeover now, but it's still a case where it's all still settling in for me. I know the likes of Kieran Trippier, Bruno, Isak, Botman already play for us, but it still makes me pinch minds. Like, how are these players actually playing for us, considering just a couple of years ago we were signing likes of Jeff Hendrick and just trying to stay up every season, but now we are actually going after the world's best players. For me, Barella is one of the world's best midfielders, and he's someone that, I mean, we'll see what happens, but to be fair, I think Newcastle picked a good opportunity going for him, because even before we get into the other reports and the actual price tag of the player, I can't see many Premier League teams trying to sign him, because I think it's actually good timing for us when you think about him. I know people said the likes of Liverpool going in for him, but one, they've signed McAllister, which have already spent a good amount of money on him, and secondly, they're not in the top four. So with Barella, I want to go to a team that's not in the Champions League, and that's for the other teams now. Arsenal's trying to get Declan Rice, so they aren't going to sign him. Manchester City, unless the likes of Gundogan leave the club, I don't see them signing a midfielder. Manchester United are trying to get Mason Mount. I mean, there's nobody that's actually going to go in for the player. Obviously, he's not going to go to Chelsea. He's not going to go to Tottenham. There's no one in the Premier League that would actually entice the player to join him. Other than Newcastle, I would honestly say. I think we've got a golden opportunity for an actual Premier League team with Champions League football to go in for this player. And we're getting to the other bits now, but I think it's realistic, you know. I actually do. Honestly, I had a chance to look at it. I had a chance to think about it, and it would cost more than £50 million to get into in just a sec. But I tell you what, I think there's a lot of weight to this one. Shortly after my initial reaction video yesterday, Sky Sports then came out agreeing with the Telegraph, saying that Eddie Howe does in fact have Nicolo Barella down as one of his primary transfer targets going into the summer transfer window. And on top of that, the club is in talks with Inter Milan over a £50 million transfer fee. Pete Graves then came out and he was saying that the talks are happening, but it isn't as close as people might think on social media, or at least what it's been implied in social media. So in his mind, the transfer deal still does sound in early stages, which isn't a good thing for Newcastle. I would say the fact it's been leaked this early will be a bit detrimental to us. But unfortunately, that's just how it is in the modern transfer world. Especially with agents, for example. Agents will exploit and they will leak information online because it benefits them and it benefits their client, which is, of course, the player in this case. So let's say now, obviously, the transfer fee for Newcastle has been leaked out there. All of a sudden, every team in world football knows that Newcastle is trying to sign Barella. All of a sudden, I know Real Madrid, Barca, or just a random team will just come in as well with loads of money trying to sign the player. So it starts a bidding war, which in terms is beneficial to the player, beneficial to the agent, and good for Inter Milan. So it's unfortunately a case that no matter what happens in nowadays football, information will get leaked out with surrounding transfers. In this case, it sounds like it probably is going to do some damage to Newcastle. But once again, it's happened. It's over and done with now. The club can only move on from it. And we'll see what happens. For now, it's fine. But if another team comes in, for example, all of a sudden someone else pops up, then it probably could cause him problems. But we seem to be okay from it for now. But it's still, again, probably something that the club wouldn't want to go out this early. Keith Downey was questioned by a Newcastle fan on Twitter whether he thinks this deal will go any further, and Keith responded saying it's difficult to tell at this stage. However, Newcastle United deemed Alexander Isak to be too expensive at £63 million, and we all know how that one went. So that's quite a good point, actually, to be fair. He's actually shown evidence of a time when Newcastle's went, you know what, we think this player is too expensive, and then actually pulled the trigger on him for £63 million. So for Nicolo Barella's case, for me, his transfer valuation, I think he's around a £70 million player. So Newcastle already are about £20 million away from what Inter Milan will probably deem as a fair valuation for him. Do I think he's worth £70 million? Yes. Yes, I do. I 100% think he's worth that money. And whether I think Newcastle will pull the trigger or not, we're getting to the financial fair play shortly with Craig Cope. I'll explain how there probably are some loopholes around that, if he, of course, is correct about the budget. However, we're not that far off. I think £70 million, but you've got to think about the midfielders you can sign out there. I don't think there's anyone better for that price. I honestly don't think there is. When we go back to Manchester United before, I think they're currently trying to get Mason Mount for around £40 to £50 million, which is around the amount we were trying to get for James Maddison. So if you're going to pay an extra £20 million for Barella, would you do it? Yeah, I definitely think we would. So we'll see what happens. Again, as I was mentioning before, it does depend if any other teams start budging away, and I think Newcastle have always made clear that we aren't going to overspend for players. We don't want to get the mick taken out of us. But I think for £70 million, I actually think it's a fair deal, and I think that's the amount that it probably is going to get sought for if he does go in this window. And for Newcastle, do I see them pulling that trigger? Maybe. Fabrizio Romano was the next individual who started talking about Nicolo Barella and the Newcastle United links, and he was saying that the interest is there. However, there hasn't been any formal approach whatsoever for the player, and there's been no official bids made for him. So it's contradicting a little bit what Sky Sports said, because again, they were saying that Newcastle are in talks to sign the player, so the approach has been made, but they haven't put that bid in yet. The talks over £50 million, the actual bid hasn't been lodged in by the club. He was also saying as well about how his valuation is going to cost way more than £50 million, and also the player terms haven't been agreed yet. Again, it's still quite early stages, so the likes of player terms probably haven't been discussed yet. It's just been the case that Newcastle went in, have shown the interest, and they want to put some money on the player. So we'll see how this transpires over the next couple of days now that the information has been made public to the media. But from this, though, from what I can take from this information, there's not too much more that's been given out. Again, it's just the same as what Sky Sports said, with a little bit of an additional bit in there with the formal approach not being made yet, which does contradict with the information that's already came out. I want to take you back to what Craig Hope said a couple of days ago, because once again he put a reminder in this morning to Newcastle fans about what he deems is the budget going into this window, about how he's saying it's £75 million in cash, but it goes up to £100 million. Now, there was a couple of loopholes in that, which I'll explain in just a sec. But he's saying that the likes of Yankuba Minta doesn't class with the first team budget, so he's a different budget altogether. So if a young player coming in that's going back out and loan straight away, that won't be included in the £75 million. So he was saying that it's a cash budget, which under financial fair play, there is a massive loophole for that. So let's say Newcastle want to buy a player now. So let's say we do in fact get Barella for £70 million. We can actually pay that over a few years if both clubs agree with it. So we can pay an initial fee of, I don't know, £30 million to the player. But over the next 2 seasons, we actually pay £20 million every summer. So that's actually only £30 million out of your £100 million spent, where in reality you spent £75 million because you're not spending it all in one window. So I do think that's quite an important point to get through. In players' contracts, in the way that the market works, there is ways where you can actually pay off the money over time, so it's not classed in your budget now. Which on the financial fair play, Newcastle probably are going to do this at some point, but it's important not to overdo it as well, because it's a case where, yes, it's not classed in this budget, but it's going to be classed in the next budget. So let's say we cock up this season and all of a sudden we've got £100 million that we owe due to previous transfers. We can become stagnated in the market. I think it's the similar thing happened to Everton. Had no budget whatsoever because they messed up the previous windows, and now it's had a massive negative effect on them as a team. But I do think that's important to know. However, as I stated in my previous video regarding financial fair play and the budget that's been reported by the media, I do also stand by that Newcastle like to lie to the media. We do that in our best interest. So, of course, when it comes out in social media saying Newcastle have this much money to spend, we can't allow our teams to use it to their advantage. So Newcastle, I think, will lie to the media. I think Newcastle will BS in order to protect their assets and to make sure that when we go out in the window, our teams, they don't have a clue how much we have to spend, they don't have a clue what our plans are. And we like to do that just to deceive and to essentially help us out. That's the way we do it. So I do stand by that. I think Craig probably has been taught, he said it's been taught by multiple sources, but I do think that there's a decent chance that the sources are probably lying to him just to help protect Newcastle United. But when asked by a fan, Craig has said that he does in fact believe that Newcastle will spend more than what he's been taught, but he's publishing his reports and what he's been told by the media. So him himself actually thinks we will spend 100 million plus in cash, but it's a case that he's reporting on what he's been taught, which I mean is fair enough as a journalist. But I thought I'd come across with that now because I think it gives you guys a better understanding of how the transfer market works, about how Newcastle United can use it to their advantage, and how also you shouldn't probably believe everything that comes out in the media when it's Newcastle United telling the media stuff direct. And before we wrap up this video, let's get through the negative part. Let's say worst case scenario happens, another football team comes in, or Inter Milan up the price to 70 plus million, and Newcastle don't want to spend that money and we walk away from the deal. How does this still benefit us? Now, the reason why this still benefits us is the fact that we are already going in for players like this. Barella is one of the best midfielders in the world, especially in his position as well. There's not many other names you can say that do a better job than him. So the fact that Newcastle already have the ambition and the direction to actually going for talents like this just shows that we are going to continue to do this. Even if this one fizzles out, we'll just go back in for now. We'll go back in for whatever player we seem fit enough for the club, and we'll just continue to do it. And I think it's so promising to see. We're a team that hasn't won a major one since 1969. Other than last season, we haven't been in a cup final since 1999, and for the first time since 2003, we actually got into the top four, meaning that we are playing Champions League football. And just the fact that it's been so long since we've done so many of these things, and we're just slowly starting to do it now, the fact that we're already trying to get these sort of players in, there's only one direction this club will go, and that's up. We will do all the things we want to do. We will win the major honours. You've seen West Ham win the Conference League. That'll be us potentially a few years winning European major honours, never mind the domestic major honours. It's just such an unbelievable time to support this football club. Never in your wildest dreams would you predicted this on the mic, actually, because it's just quite simple, would never happen. You didn't care about the club at all, and there was just no future. There was no end to that tunnel. But now there is that direction. There is that funnel moving, but you've got to move that wheel. That's not really a good analogy, but we do have to keep moving. That's the thing I will say, and this club will do that. We have the ownership there, we have the players there, we have everything we need, we have all the tools there. We just have to build that castle, which we will do. And I'm so confident in this football team. I'm so confident we can actually go out there and get these sort of deals done because of the fact that we just have that ambition, we have that money, we have that pull power. Now, there still is going to be a bit of a pull factor because, well, let's be honest, we haven't won major honours in so long, so that will be a thing that players will look into. But the fact that we have Champions League football, that's the start. It's about what we can do next, and we've already done so much in such a little time, so I'm so confident in this football team. And I think even if this deal fizzles out, I'm so excited for this window, and I think we'll go straight back in for another seriously good player. So yeah, I thought we'll wrap it up like that. I think it's probably the best way to kind of finish it off. Let me know your thoughts down below, guys. Do you think this deal will happen? I know it's obviously there's a bit of a calm before the storm. I think over the next couple of days it will spice up again, either in a positive or a negative way for Newcastle. But it's good. It's good regardless. I'm so happy with this. Barella is an unbelievable player. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we get this one over the line. But anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts down below. Take care, and I will see you all in the next